Restore It Ralph channel. Today I'm going to do some preparations for Power Tour for the 59 Plymouth Sport Fury. One of the first and least needed modifications of this car is a set of carpet in it. It's going to make it a little bit more comfortable to drive the, 500 to 1,000 miles that we're going to take it on. So we're getting ready to fit the carpet. Dug the sill plates out that are in terrible condition, but they're usable. And we need to pull the seats out of this thing so that way I can take my 1971 Chrysler New Yorker carpet. Yes, I did not buy the correct carpet for this car for two reasons. The correct carpet for the car is expensive. I saved about $200 by buying the wrong carpet. And also, this car is pieced together. So I stitched a bunch of metal and made my own floors for this car. This car was a parts car at best. So the floor is not the correct shape for a 59 Plymouth. So there's no sense in me spending a premium on carpet for something that's not going to fit anyways. Seats and seat belts are out of the car. I had to remove the accelerator pedal assembly out of the floor. And I think we're pretty much ready to start setting the carpet in and fitting it. So here's the seats. Here's the carpet set that's been sitting in the sun for the better part of 2 or 3 hours. So hopefully that'll soften it up a little bit and let it fit down in there pretty decent. First test fit of the rear carpet is going well. Gonna have to take the rear lower door panels out so that way I can tuck this up in here and trim it accurately. Front carpet is loosely fit. It is just big enough. So buying a carpet for a C body is just big enough for, hopefully, we'll see after I get the seat bolted down and everything. Hopefully it's big enough to cover from sill plate to sill plate. So I used a soldering iron to burn holes in the carpet. That seems to be the easiest way. And then I set the seat down and through the holes, and it pushes the carpet down, seats it. So now I can do the final trimming on this thing. I've got to install the accelerator pedal, and then I'm going to move back onto these rear lower trim panels on the door panels, and then put the rear seat back in. We should be pretty good. Pretty happy with how the accelerator pedal fits through the carpet there. This right here will make the purist cringe because this is the 70s molded in matte, and the Forwardlook one I think has like circles that kind of mimics the pedals, but I'm not too concerned with that. For being replaced floor pans and a carpet that doesn't fit this vehicle, this thing's shaping up pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how everything's kind of laying out, and it's good enough for what this car is. These are the original sill plates, and I need to take them back off and straighten them and polish them up and stuff. But just for fitting them right now, it seems to be working pretty decent. Overall, pretty happy with how this project turned out. I'm going to call this done for now. The seats are terrible, but I knew that. They're good enough for now. They've got some new cheap seat covers on it. That's good until I actually spend the money for upholstery or learn how to do that myself. The carpet fits pretty decent, and a set of vintage style clear floor mats finish it off. Made a couple factory style kick panels out of some Yucca board, some hardboard or whatever you want to call it. And eventually I'll probably recover those in the material that matches the door panels. But I'm having some issues with the door panels. The glue is failing, and I don't want to get real crazy into that until I figure out how to repair or how to properly adhere those. Overall, I think this thing is going to be decent, and I took it around the block. It seems to be nice and quiet inside the car. A lot better, a lot more pleasant ride than it was. This 59 Plymouth is by no means what I would call a nice specimen. Realistically, it would have been in the junkyard if I didn't save it 20 years ago. But being a factory big block car, it had some stuff that made it easier to put back together. So I do have the factory 59 big block oil pan on this 1963 engine. I tried putting a C-body pan down in this car, and it would not fit, so I was very happy to have that. Although this car looks like a pile, which it kind of is, I was able to swap this thing over to disc brakes. So these are FJM body, so Volare, Diplomat, that kind of stuff. Disc brake spindles on the original ball joints and control arms. If you want to find out how to do that, Fury Gym on YouTube and Facebook has a tutorial on how to do it, and it worked out great. Doing an oil change on this car because I can't remember the last time I did, but it probably doesn't have 500 miles on the oil, honestly. This is a 1963 361 that's been bored 30 over. This engine came out of a 1963 Dodge 880 that my dad bought years ago, and we always joked that it was the best running 383 we ever had. Has been in my uncle's car and a couple other cars. And when we had it at the machine shop, they called us and said, hey, your 383 is a 361. So now I've got the original 361 heads on it that still have the 4-bolt valve covers, just like the original 59 would have had. So it looks legit. It is not legit, but it's close enough. I do have the factory air cleaner on this thing, and it says Golden Commando 395. That was actually the torque rating on these things. I think they were rated at 295 or 305 from the factory, something like that, horsepower-wise. But 395 is a bigger number, so you got to go with that, right? I checked wheel bearing and ball joint play, and everything seems to be good on this car. Like I said, since I put this thing together, it's lucky to have a couple thousand miles on the car itself. The longest trip I've made in it is to Columbus and back, which is an hour-and-a-half trip over to Mopar Nationals from here. So, you know, it doesn't have a whole lot of street miles on it, but it's got enough to think that it'll probably make it. Even though this car looks like it's pretty stock, it is not. It's got a newer, like 383 Roadrunner intake manifold on it with a Holly. It's got a alternator that I used the factory brackets, converted it to an alternator with an electronic voltage regulator instead of the factory generator that would have had. I also converted it to electronic ignition, and it's got a dual reservoir newer master cylinder off of like a Diplomat or something like that to go along with the factory disc brakes from a, I don't know, FJM body. So this thing looks like an old car, which it is an old car. And all the upgrades are still 30 years old, so it's not like it's anything modern, but it is better than the 1959 generator, single reservoir drum brakes, and point type ignition. Since this car has a aftermarket comp cam in it, and it's a flat Tepicam anyways, I always use the VR1 racing oil in it. 2050 is probably a little overkill for this engine, but I like the zinc in it, and that keeps it from wiping the cam out. Last night I decided I couldn't live with black kick panels, so went to Lowe's, got some spray can that is close. It's way too blue, but it's better than black, I think. So when I do a respray on the dash, I will try and just paint those at the same time. But for now, looks pretty decent. Brightens it up a little bit. I like it better. I guess it's time for a test drive now. Gotta call this thing roadworthy. Man, it's sounding great. It's running great. I think I'll turn the idle up just a fuzz. Holding about 190 in the coolant temp. 50 pounds of oil pressure at idle. This thing is ready. There we go. Turn the idle up just a fuzz. I think I like that gate a little bit better. One piece of trim on this car that I am missing is this guy right here, this front spear. And I've tried to buy it, Tried to find one. Most people with 59 Plymouth Sport Fury trim do not want to break it up, and they want to sell the whole set off a rusty car for $2,000, which I'm not going to do that. So I think what I'm going to try and do is make my own out of this piece of chunk of aluminum. So let me see what I can do. I've got this chunk of 1/4-inch aluminum rough cut to the basic shape that I think I need, and I'm starting to profile it. I'm not going to make it as thin as this stainless would be because I don't think it'd be strong enough, but the goal here is to have this thing thick enough, look close enough, be able to polish it up, and maybe drill and tap it so I can bolt it from the backside. After the first round of cutting and grinding with a flap wheel and a die grinder and my cutoff wheel, not bad. Needs a lot of work still. Not sure if I'm going to try and thin this thing out like the other side or leave it thicker, which I'm leaning towards, because you won't see both sides at the same time. Still whittling away. I think I'm going to pause here and drill and tap it. I'm going to put a stud on the back side of it through the factory hole. I've got these 2 little tabs that align it into the stainless trim, so I think that'll work close enough. Then I'll see how much thinner I can make this thing. Probably not. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to look better than that piece of old trim that I had on here. I gave up and quit because this one is not going to be the final piece. Although already it looks better than the one I had on there. I made it a little bit too small and it might be a little bit too thick. So I quit refining this thing because I know this is going to be replaced with another piece. But I'm out of 1/4-inch aluminum. So I'll look at the scrapyard, pick up some pieces, maybe make a better one in the future. But for now, I think it's better than the other piece I had on there. Decided to rob the vintage Igloo cool rest for the trip so we can pack some waters and sodas in there. And this is actually a watertight cooler, so should be pretty nice for the hot days on the road. Well, that's going to do it for this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.